Hi, this is Todd Ballinger here with Kendall Todd and the Borrow Smart Repay Smart software. I wanted to share with you a very exciting update. It's actually been live for a couple of weeks. After our beta group had reviewed it, we rolled it out live, but we wanted to get some more feedback for users before we made this formal announcement. And just to give you a little backstory, our initial software, as many of you know, was developed for financial institutions, financial advisors, and lenders that were supporting financial advisors to do true liability planning. What we've done is we've had more and more independent loan officers using the tool, and as they use the tool, there were times when they just simply wanted a summary or a quick plan. So we first had to build out all the complexity, the ability to compare multiple scenarios, second homes, rental properties, different cash in and cash outs, AM tables, etc. And now we're working back the other direction and creating some really simple one-page and two-page plans that you can create to make this easy for your client. I'm going to go through and show you an example here. This was a rental scenario that I ran for a friend. They were purchasing a new home for $180,000. Okay, they only had about $10,000. That's what they had available and saved to buy this particular property. So we've got a rent versus own kind of scenario here. They had $70,000 in income, 29% tax bracket, and they were currently renting, paying $900 a month in rent. So this is, again, the first tab, the Manage tab. This is where I set up the basic information. They were really only interested in a 30-year fixed. They felt like the house that they were looking for was going to be around $180 based on their research. And they felt the most that they could spend was $1,250. Ideally, their payment wouldn't go up more than their current rent, but they could say spend up to $1,250 a month. So as you can see, this is really simple to set up here. And there's no change to the software at this point. The change is going to be over on the Present tab. But I want to make sure you understand the setup. So when I go to the Borrow tab, their current liabilities is the $900 a month they're paying. They've got the 30-year monthly MI and 30-year financed MI were the two options they were looking at with a 95% conventional. So you'll notice this interest rate's higher because they're basically financing that MI into the rate. This one's lower because they're going to pay that MI here on a monthly basis. So this isn't a case to show you how to set this up. I just want you to understand the difference here. If they buy this house, or if they don't buy this house, I should say, in the current situation, the $10,000 cash that they have, hey, that's still $10,000 they'll get to have. If they get a 30-year monthly with MI, you can see with the down payment they were going to put down of 5%, that's $9,000. They've got closing costs here of $1,710, $2,000, some prepaids. And then there's a $3,000 seller credit on the house that they're looking at. So you can see they're going to need $10,910 to do this. They've got 10, so they're only short about $910, something that's workable. And whether they get the 30-year monthly or the 30-year financed MI, the closing cost impact is going to be the same in this situation. The difference is going to be the monthly payment, right? Because they're currently spending $900 a month. This new payment will be $1,246, which is within their target of $1,250. And this one will be $1,189. But we do have some nice tax benefits they don't get from renting, and those tax benefits are right here. So on an after-tax payment basis, they're really only going to be spending $67 more a month in this scenario and $23 more a month in this scenario. So that tells me something about the cash flow, but does it really answer the question of which of these is best for this client financially over their target time frame? Because we always need to know, how long do you think you'll be in the house? And for this client, simple answer, they think they'll be there about 7 to 10 years. So we use 7 years. And this is something else to consider. Most of you know now with our sliders, you can go positive, you can even go negative. So if I thought, what if this client bought this house and the house actually lost 1% a year in property value? Would this still make sense for them financially? And as you can see below, the numbers are green here. So even if they went from renting this house to buying in these two scenarios, and the property lost 1% of value over the next 7 years, they're still better off by $9,460 or $11,997. So the other thing this tells me is, even though this one has the lowest cash flow impact, it also has the best wealth impact. So the 20-year fixed with finance, the 30-year fixed with financed MI is what we want to consider for this client. Now, I'm not going to be quite so harsh and assume a 1% or negative 1%, but I am going to assume a 0%. So this is cool because you can show a renter straight up buying the house even without appreciation. Are you better off having equity growing? Because that's the difference here, right? This client is building equity over time because here they're paying it in rent Here they're paying principal and interest. So you can see they pay $23,000 of principal into that property. And that plus their tax savings creates this wealth impact. Now, this is how the software works. And again, at this point, nothing's changed, right? You've been able to simply do what you can do better than you've hopefully ever been able to do this before. But now when you click on the Present tab, you'll see a bit of a change. We've simplified this a little bit. One of the things we did is combine the report pages that were similar. For example, we had 2 or 3 different names for AM tables here with different things. We just decided AM tables are AM tables. You want them or you don't. If I click this button, I'm going to get all the AM tables. If I don't, there won't be AM tables. The cover was something that we thought was a standalone. The introduction was a standalone. And here's the big difference. In the past, if I were to go check all, you were automatically getting the 5-page expanded summary if you were doing that. We now have a 2-page simple summary. I can't check both. I got to pick, do I want the 2-page simple summary or the 5-page expanded summary? So one strategy with this particular client would be to print this whole plan, but using the 2-page simple summary. This allows me to show on a cover page my company branding and information, have a little introduction, and then I can do my entire presentation to the client with my 2-page simple summary. If they want more information, there's a lot of great ammunition there for you to go deeper if they want it. But we're hearing folks say that they can do their entire presentation now just off this 2-page plan. And remember, what you have the ability to do now is, if you want, just generate a 2-page simple summary for the client. So let me show you both so you can kind of see the difference. If I were to go with a full plan, but choose the 2-page option instead of the 5, let's take a look and see what that would look like. To generate that plan, I simply click Print as a PDF. And here we go. Okay, so I did a simple plan. You can see it's 8 pages long. And here's my cover page. Here's my introduction page. And this is my new 2-page summary. So I've got the first page and the second page. And what you'll see is this is actually the 5-page plan, but summarized and condensed into just 2 pages. So you can have a nice, simple conversation with your client about the options that may be available for them. So let's take a look and see what this would look like for this particular client. Now I'm going to go ahead and just kind of zoom in here to make this a little bit easier to see. So first, I have had folks say I've done my entire presentation and it's done right here on the summary. I've got the 30-year fixed, and you'll notice it's still highlighted. The columns are highlighted for what you're proposing. So you can already see I'm going to recommend the 30-year fixed with the financed MI. You've got no loan amount here. You've got a 171 and a 171. The term is 360 and 360. Your interest rate's 4.25 and 4.625. Your APR is 4.848, 4.813. You're currently spending $900 a month in rent. You're going to spend $967 a month and $923 a month. And this is showing that after-tax payment. If I have that closed, it'll show the full payment. You can show it either way. The monthly decrease or increase, your payment's going down on an after-tax basis by $67 a month. Here, your payment's going to be a little bit higher by $23 a month. Cash needed to close, you're going to need $10,910 to close this with both of these scenarios. Now, this is cool. Cash flow over 7 years. You're going to be out of pocket over 7 years as a renter, $7,155. If you were to buy this with a 30-year monthly MI, your net out-of-pocket expense, $962 out of pocket. And in this scenario, $1,748. So you have a nice conversation you can have about cash flow, right? This is going to increase your cash flow over the next 7 years by helping to reduce your total expenses. And what about wealth impact? Now, these numbers, everything you see in the summary is backed up by the following charts, the 2 little pages here. So I can show my wealth impact is positive 21,634, positive 24,171. And we think we've done something very unique here with the break even. Our break even is a true wealth break even. It's considering taxes, cash flow, net wealth, and it's always comparing it against the current scenario. So in other words, compared to renting, this client would be break even in this scenario in 12 months, in this scenario in 10 months. So that's kind of cool, right? Because I can say, look, that if you continue to rent versus buy this home, what's it going to take for you to recover your down payment, your closing costs on a wealth basis. And we're saying, look, you're going to be debt free, and you're going to be not debt free. You're going to be break even in less than 1 year. It's going to take you 10 months to get to that break even point. If I'd done this as a repayment scenario, this would show a debt free that might be much, much lower. So depending on which scenario you choose, whether you do a simple plan or an advanced plan with repay or an advanced plan with savings, it's up to you. But this summary will dynamically build out a summary of all of the key information for your client right here in this one little area. So I can tell quite a story there. I can say you're spending $900 after tax, you're going to spend $967, or you're going to spend $923. Now, where do I get the supporting information? It's right over here. On this first page, most of our users said that payment was the most important consideration for their client. So think about this. You can now do a one-page plan to your client if you'd like. Meaning if you just printed this one page for them, you've got the summary of all the financial impact here that's summarized, and then the key stuff here with monthly impact. Rent, over here you're able to show them, right? Because over here you can say, well, this is $967. That's not the total payment. No, your total payment is $1,246 and $1,189. But you're going to generate $279 and $266 in tax savings you wouldn't get from renting. So you're going to feel like you're paying $967 and $923 on an after-tax basis. And I can see that visually, a scenario mapped out here. And I also have all of my notes that I put in the software is right here on this page. So with one page, I can do a very good job presenting the client these two options. And again, I can do up to 4 scenarios side by side. If I want to use the 2 pages of the 2-page plan, the second page of those 2 pages is going to show my closing costs, and here's going to break down all my closing costs. You got $10,000 cash versus coming to the closing table with an extra $910 or $910. And here I can see my wealth impact. Where did that 21 and that 24 come from? Well, the wealth impact is over 7 years, assuming 0 property appreciation and 0 after-tax savings. If you were to go that route, here's what's going to happen. Over the next 7 years, you'd spend $82,755 in rent. That's out of pocket. If you go with the 30-year monthly with MI, what are you going to spend? Well, you'll have a house worth $180. It's not going up in value. But in 7 years, your mortgage balance will be $147.99. You've got $32,000 in equity. These are the interest payments that you've made. These are the taxes that you've had to pay over this time period. Here's the principal that you actually paid in. Here's your tax savings over that time period. That's the original cash you had to put down to build up part of that equity. You've made total payments of $93,123. So when I look at the difference here, your wealth is going to decrease by $82,755 renting. It's only going to go down by $61,122 owning the property. So even though it's a negative wealth impact, you're positive $21,634 comparing your rent versus your own. And when does this wealth impact go positive? Well, that's right here on the break even. It's positive for the client in 12 months or 10 months. So we're doing something very unique there. And this is true with refinancing now, purchases, any kind of scenario you do for your client. We're going to compare their current situation to your new alternatives and calculate a true wealth break even. So if I printed this up for my client, you'll realize here, I hope, when we look at this, is that you could show the cover page. You could just print that, and you could just select that. You could select to print the introduction page or not. And with your 2-page summary and introduction, you can do your entire presentation for your client. But you've also got these other pages for support if you need them. And we'll go through and provide you some basic information here. This was on a simple plan. If I'd done an advanced plan, this would be a much more comprehensive plan. But I now have that ability to create something really, really simple. If I just want to come in here and create a 2-page plan for my client, I can do that. I simply click the 2-page simple summary, click as a PDF, and in just about 5 seconds there, I've got my presentation. And as you'll see here, it's a 2-page PDF presentation, page 1 and page 2. This gives you the flexibility of printing the 2 pages and just having your entire conversation with the client on this one page. And if they have questions, well, where did you get $24,000 in savings from? You've got that right here. Or where did you get that I'm going to need $10,910 to close? I've got that right here. The 3 major questions are still answered. We've just made this super simple for you. And I really hope it helps you with your client presentations. So you've got the choice now. I could just do the cover. One of the things I've done for a couple friends recently is I've done a cover and the 2-page plan. So we can see what would that look like. So here we go, right? Now it's a 3-page plan. There's just the cover, and there's the first page, the summary, and here's the payment, and then here's the second page. All of this is WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, just like before. So if you're doing a simple plan and you shrink up wealth impact, then when you create your report, you would see the summary, the payment impact, and the closing costs. And this area over here would just be available for white space for you to make notes with the client and use however you would like to use it. So we really appreciate your feedback. I'm excited about this update. I think it's going to really help you with a lot of how you interact with the client. You've still got the ability to attach your anti-steering file here as a separate file. You've also got the ability to attach your My PDF file. And let me just remind you, because people forget about this, and we're starting to see people get really creative with their My PDF. Under your profile, you can come in here and you have the ability to add a PDF file that would append to reports. If you don't know how to create a PDF file, it's very simple. There are free tools online. What you really want to do is go out and create a simple brochure or something that maybe talks about your company, how you're unique, and why they need to be doing business with you. That way, when you go in and do a plan for your client, what I could do now is I could click the cover page, the 2-page summary, and the My PDF, and I've got a cover page, a 2-page report for my client, and my company brochure. And when I click that, I've got a nice PDF presentation that I can use for my client. So isn't this cool? I've got my cover page, I've got my summary and my monthly payment impact, I've got my closing costs and my wealth impact, and then I've got my company brochure. Here's a great example from Axia Financial, just to show you how they put a nice 1-page brochure that works right into the overall presentation. So I've got a really smart, really slick 4-page plan. The key here is giving you flexibility, control to decide, I want a cover, I want a 2-page summary, I want to attach that loan program matrix, and I want my company brochure. Have that be your default if that's what works for you. We'll have more best practices coming up for you, but go in here, take a look at this, play with it, and give us your feedback. We hope it really helps you to engage and increase those conversion rates working with clients today. I think you'll find with the refinance scenarios, we've been finding that having that break even and showing people break-in dates that sometimes are 6 to 12 months out really helps to increase their confidence. That confidence leads to that clarity, and that clarity and confidence lead to action. All the best. Have a great day.